screen now. Okay, now for the reconciliation purpose, first of all, let us see what are the statement lines available based on the statement that has been created, and then what are the system transactions that are available. So first step is showing you the statement that is available. Okay, so I will go to manage bank statements. Okay, the statement that is already created, and under manage bank statements, I will expand this search. Okay, and let me enter the bank account. So this is the bank account for which a statement is available. Okay, and then I will say year to date as the search criteria. Okay, so this is the statement which I had created, okay, as a manual statement. But yeah, even if it is imported, this is how it will look like, okay. Once it is imported successfully, this is how it will look like. But if it is an imported type, then the entry type would be imported instead of manual. That would be the only difference. Okay, now if I open this bank statement by clicking on, this is the statement ID, okay, under this particular bank. So if you look this, these are the details available: bank, work to which it is associated, then the period start and the period end date. Okay, the statement ID, basically the statement number. Okay, and then the opening balance. What is the opening balance? And then the closing balance on that for that particular statement period. Okay, 8920. And then you have this statement lines. These are all the statement lines that are available. Okay, so in this case, you have these many statement lines: 10,000, 1,000, 50, 30, like that. Okay, and then you see here, in case of this one, this is RCPT, this is a customer receipt. Okay, then 7748, this is what outgoing money, this is for payments. Okay, then BC1, this is a fee basically. Okay, the charges, basically the bank charges. Okay, so these are the codes that are associated to it. So this is how you will enter. In case of manual, you will have to enter all these things manually. The statement lines you will have to enter manually. Okay, the booking date, the transaction code. Transaction code you will have to enter, because it is something which will identify in the reconciliation process. Based on that, the reconciliation would work, the automatic reconciliation. Okay, then the transaction code description, transaction type, electronic fund transfer, reconciliation reference is there. Again, this is important, without which, in case of one-to-one matching type, yesterday we understood, right, the one-to-one matching configuration. So if the one-to-one matching configuration is enabled, and if the reconciliation reference is the criteria, one of the criteria which you have selected for one-to-one, and then if it is blank, then system will not be able to identify it. Okay, so in this case, one of the statement line does not have the reconciliation reference. Why I have kept it is just to show you how it will not consider in the auto reconciliation process. So this is how the statement is created. I'll click on done. Now I want to see what are the reconciled and what are all the unreconciled or the reconciled lines, okay, available, and what are the statement lines available. So how can I check that? I will go to task list, and under task list, I have something called reconciliation. And under that, you can click on manual reconciliation. So this page will basically allow you to even do manual reconciliation, and also it will give you all the details of the unreconciled and the reconciled lines. Okay, so in this case, I'm currently at the unreconciled tab. Okay, and what is the bullet icon I have selected? The bank statement and the system transactions. I want to see both the bank statement and the system transactions, the unreconciled transactions, okay, side by side. Okay, that is where you will if you select this first option, you will have both side by side. The bank statement lines which are unreconciled, the system transaction lines also which are unreconciled in a particular bank account. If you just want one of these cases, only the bank statement lines, then you can click here. Only the system transaction lines, then you can click here. Okay, but right now I'm selecting this because I want to see both, okay, the statement lines as well as the system transactions that are not reconciled against each other. And then I will select the bank account for which I want to see. Okay, so this is the bank account I have selected. So now you see, these are all the statement lines available from the bank statement that was generated and sent to us. These are all the lines available. Okay, and then from the system, these are all the system transaction, like in AP, the payments, the in AR, the receipts, in cash management, the external transactions. All these are system transactions, okay, which are available. If it is a manual reconciliation that you want to do, you will simply select the respective checkbox. So in this case, the statement line, let's say this is the statement line. Okay, and then the transaction line against which it needs to be reconciled is this one. Okay, because you can see the date is 12, even though the reference number in the bank statement is not available, but you can identify it based on the amount for manual reconciliation. And you feel this is right, this one, then you will reconcile. You will select both these things and you will reconcile. Click on reconcile. So now it is removed from the list. So that is how you do a manual reconciliation. Let's say if in future you realize that that was not a correct reconciliation and you want to unreconcile it, then how can you do that? You will go to reconcile tab. Okay, give the bank account and search it. Okay, if you know the reference number is there, you can search by reference number. If you know the statement ID for a particular statement, in this case, we only have one statement. That is why it is not difficult. But when in a real business life, there will be many statements available. So that is where you will have to give some more search criteria. Okay, the date range as well as the statement ID, if you remember, you might have to give, or date range itself, it will be enough. So you can give the date range and then search. So you will see the reconciled line is available here. Okay, statement line and the reconciled line. This is how it will appear. Now you feel that it is not correct. So you will select the group and then click on unreconcile. Okay, then it will again be unreconciled and it will be moved back to the unreconciled tab. So you will now again be able to see it under the unreconciled tab. Okay. So this is how the manual reconciliation works. Now the auto reconciliation part. So auto reconciliation will take into consideration what? The rules that we had defined in yesterday. Okay, some of the rules that we defined yesterday, right? The matching rule. Okay, similarly, the cash transaction rule, all those things we defined yesterday. And on the basis of that, okay, we have certain things here. So now let me add one more line in the statement, which will be for what? Which will be for, this one. What do you say? Bank charges or bank fee. Okay, let me create that in the statement. So I want to show you how system will automatically create the transaction based on the statement line. Okay, I will go to bank statement, manage bank statement. Let me select the bank account. Okay, and I will select on this. Okay, since the activity has been performed, I cannot add a new line, but we will add a new line in a new statement. That is fine. Okay, let me. That statement transaction automatic creation, I will show you once we have done with the auto reconciliation. Okay, so let us go for the auto reconciliation process. Okay, now how to do that? So basically, there is again a task called submit auto reconciliation. Okay, I will click on submit auto reconciliation. Select the bank account for which you want to process the auto reconciliation. Okay, so the bank account which we were seeing now, that we will select. This is the bank account under which we have the statement as well as the transaction lines. Select the statement ID for which you want to specifically run the auto reconciliation. If you keep this blank, system will take all the statements, okay, which have the reconciliation status as unreconciled. Okay, it will consider all the statements. But specifically, generally, we do it at the end of the period, right? Every period we do the reconciliation. So that is where you will select the latest statement available, and then you will perform the reconciliation for that. Okay, and then statement ID you have selected from date and to date. This is just taking as per the current date. Okay, so provide the from date and to end date. You can remove it because you have selected the statement. So no need to provide the date range. Okay, and then you can simply click on submit. So what this process will do, it will go to what? It will go to the setups. Okay, it will check the matching rule, it will check the tolerance, all those things it will check and try to identify, okay, the transaction lines and the system lines that it need to auto reconcile based on the conditions that we have put in the matching rules. Okay, so so this is the monitor section. So what the schedule process we go to, right? The for cash management, you can have the schedule process window directly from here. Okay, so now you look at this auto reconcile bank statement, it is successful. The process has completed. So now again, you can go to what? You can go to the manual reconciliation page. Okay, you can directly go to the now nothing should be available, or there should be some transactions that will no longer be available because the automatic reconciliation would have reconciled it. Okay, so how to check it? Basically, you can check in the unreconciled part what all transactions now you can see and what all you cannot see. So now I will click on search after selecting it. So now you don't see, you only see two lines, okay, which are unreconciled. Earlier it was four. Now there is only two lines because the matching criteria did not match the transaction. Okay, that is why basically what happened is, the transactions are could not get reconciled in the auto reconciliation process. So for whatever the conditions were fulfilled, okay, all those got reconciled, and now you will be able to see those under the reconciled tab. See here, these got automatically reconciled. Automatically reconciled. You saw, right, in the earlier page, in the earlier, when we were looking at the unreconciled page, there were four transactions available in each section. In the statement line also four were available. In the system transaction also four were available. Okay, so that is why because these transaction it could not identify, because in one of this case, in this case, the reference on the statement line was not available, but there was a reference in the system transaction. Because it did not meet the matching criteria, system could not identify it, and the auto reconciliation did not pick these lines. So in such cases where the auto reconciliation does not pick, okay, the lines, business users, they can choose to manually manually reconcile it. Okay, considering that majority of the cases would definitely be picked up in the reconciliation process, but there would be only few such cases which do not meet the criteria, and therefore auto reconciliation would not pick it, and then business users, they will have to manually come to this page and reconcile those by identifying the lines against which it needs to be applied. Okay, now one second. Now coming to the case of BC 7845, this is a fee. Okay, for this it did not find it. Okay, but then system, there is an option for system to generate an external transaction, okay, for this fee. Okay, so if we have defined the rules properly, and if we have the values correctly there in the statement, the reference code and everything is properly populated, then the transaction code, I mean to say, if it is there properly populated, then system will pick this line and create a system transaction, which is the external transaction for this line. Okay, because this is a line which is available in the statement, okay, which came as part of the statement as a fee, bank fee, which we only realized it has come up when we received the bank statement. Okay, it was not our transaction, but something which bank deducted from their side as a fee, and only we came to know when we received the statement. So for such cases, we have the setup for creating the bank statement transaction creation rule. And if we have defined it properly, then system will be able to identify this line and create the transaction, external transaction, which then will appear under here. Okay, so let us see that. So let us review our transaction creation rule as well as the statement line. So now I'll go back to this particular task list, and I will say manage bank statement. I want to see if all the codes and everything, transaction code has been properly populated or not. So I will search my bank again. Select the bank account. Put it as between. And then click here. Clicking on the statement ID. Okay, and now which was the line? This one, BC1. That was the line. Let me click on that and see transaction code is already populated as BC1, and the transaction type is fee. Okay, and let us now see our setup, review our setup. If for this particular transaction code and transaction type, do we have the bank transaction creation rule, bank statement transaction creation rule defined or not? Okay, so let us have a look at that. I'll go to financials, manage bank account. I will see at the account level what is the transaction creation rule that has been populated, that I will see. So manage bank account. This is the bank account where the statement line is available. So for this bank account, we need to check if the statement transaction creation rules are applicable or not. So I'll go to controls. Okay, in this, what do we have? We have something called ABC bank charge. Okay, let us see the configuration for that. setup and maintenance, financials, manage bank transaction creation rule. Manage bank statement transaction creation rule. Let me search it. There's the first one only. I'll open it. Okay, so what is it? Okay, the transaction code is BC1 and the type is also fee. Let me check again on the statement line. Transaction code is BC1 and the transaction type is fee. Okay, so the criteria for statement is fulfilling. Okay, statement line identification, it is fulfilling the criteria. Okay, and fee is there, ABC Corp US. Okay, so this is there. Okay, now what I will do is I will run the particular program which is supposed to create a cash management external transaction line for this statement against this statement line. Okay, so let me do that. So what is the navigation for that? From the bank statement and reconciliation under cash management, right? Under cash management, we have bank statement and reconciliation, which will come to this page, and then task. Okay, I will say generate cash transaction. Okay, this is the program that I need to run. Before you submit auto reconciliation, this is something you will have to run so that system will be able to create external transaction for all such cases, which is supposed to be automatically created from the statement, bank statement. Okay, so first that is the thing that you will create, and then you will run the auto reconciliation process finally as a process. Okay, but yeah, again, you can do it. The sequence can be changed. Again, you first you do the auto reconciliation, then you realize that there are certain fee or bank charge related statement lines for which the system configurations are available. So system should generate the automatic transaction. So then you will again run that particular program, generate cash transaction, this one that we are looking at. Okay, and then check if the transaction has been created or not. So let us select, and then the statement ID we will select, for which we want to run the automatic transaction creation program. And then I'll submit. The process was submitted. You don't need to go to schedule process to check. You can simply check from this dashboard below. Under that, you have process monitor. Just click on refresh. Okay, that is successful. Okay, create bank statement transaction process is successful. And now let us see if we have the external transaction available. So from where we can see the external transaction. So for this, we will go to, either you can go to manual reconciliation and check for bank and system transaction lines, or you can go to external transaction, manage transaction, and try to find it. But more meaningful would be to see from manual reconciliation, because it provides you the information side by side. Okay, let me search it under unreconciled. This should be unreconciled because we have, okay. So it has been, so now you don't see that. That means it has been created, and because system created it against a statement line, it has automatically reconciled that as well. Okay, so now, earlier it was appearing here, right? You saw that that particular fee was appearing here. So now if I look here, now one more line is available, which is C. BC1, BC7845, against which system created this external transaction with the amount of -30 as per the statement. So this is how generally this particular program would work. Okay, such case of fee or charges for which there is a specific code, transaction code in the bank listing which you have configured, and then against which you have even configured the rule. Okay, the rule, and assigned it at the bank level. So based on that, when you run this particular program, which is called the generate cash transaction, so system will identify it based on the code and the transaction type, and it will create and reconcile automatically those transactions. Okay, so now you want to see the details again of that particular transaction, the accounting and everything. So from manage external transaction, you can search out. Okay, so it was starting with reference was starting with BC something, right? So I can provide a percentage, and also I will provide the bank account. Or let me just remove it. Let me select the bank account directly. Okay, and let me search the transaction type as fee, right? Because that was the transaction type associated to the external transaction. Let me refresh the page, okay? Fine, no worries. So now it has come up. So if you see here, BC7845, okay, with this, the reconciled line. So this is the reconciled line created, okay, for external as an external transaction. 34001 is the external transaction that got created against the statement line for fees. Okay, and based on the rule that we have provided. So in the rule, we have provided the account details also, right? Offset account. So if you now look at the external transaction, where is it? The offset account is automatically populated as 766,100. But the cash account, it is coming from where? The bank, because we kept the cash account at the rule level as blank. Okay, so this is how the automatic transaction generation would happen in case the respective rules have been created and assigned against the bank account. Similarly, for auto reconciliation also, the matching criteria would work based on the criteria that you have defined, and then it will identify those transaction lines and reconcile. Okay, so I hope now you know how to find unreconciled lines, reconciled lines, the statement and the transaction lines as well. So from where you can find it? From the manual reconciliation tab. From there, you can even do the manual reconciliation also. So cases which are left out by the auto reconciliation process, okay, that you can choose to manually reconcile from the manual reconciliation. Okay, so this is how you can do the reconciliation part. Now loading of,
Can we once go to this manage bank statements, please?
yes, manage bank statement. So that is where you can search all the bank statements.
Yeah, our bank statement, what we have searched, from where have we created it?
Yeah, that one I had created it. Either it is created manually or either it is created
Uploaded.
uploaded. So
From
in my
where have
case,
you created? That's the question.
sorry, tell me.
From where have you created this bank statement?
I have created it manually based on the transactions that we had in our system.
Okay,
Okay,
so
so
we have
in
to click on
AP,
this page.
in AP we had certain receipts, right? We had created,
Yes.
sorry, payments we had created as part of our testing training.
Okay.
Similarly, there were receipts we had created in receivable module as part of our training. Similarly,
Yes.
in case of cash management, we had created some uh, you know, um, ad hoc payments, bank transfer, all those things we created, right?
Yes.
So that is all the transactions. Based on that, I created a dummy statement because we don't have bank sending us, right? We need to see all the other processes, how it works. So that is where I created a dummy statement based on the transactions that we have already in our system. Okay. So let me search it. So I'm giving a date range. I have first selected the search parameter with the specific bank account for which I want to have the statement or want to search the statement. Okay, then in the below section, I selected between and providing a date range. Okay, where the statement has been created. So that has retrieved this. That will retrieve this statement which I had created.
So in
Okay.
order to create this statement, we have to click on the plus symbol and add
Yes.
the
Yes.
transactions.
Yeah, that is manual creation.
Okay. And this is the one which we have done is you have done it manually.
Yes, this I have done it manually. So if you look at the entry type, it is manual.
Okay.
Okay, so I had created all the statement lines. So all the statement lines one by one I had added. Okay,
Okay,
then
done.
I had given the transaction code. I had given the transaction type associated the correct transaction type that needs to be there, and then the reconciliation reference and the amount. The reconciliation reference I gave it same as the receipt number. Okay. In case of receipts, in case of payments, I gave the same number as the payment number that we had in payable module. Why did I give that? Because I want the auto reconciliation to pick up based on the matching criteria of 1 to 1. 1 to 1 matching criteria, it is going to look for reconciliation reference and the amount. It will identify based on that. So that is where in the statement also, I gave the reconciliation reference exactly same as the receipt number in receivables and payable. Okay. That way I have created.
Can you please mention the steps how to create manually in the
I
Excel?
think you had missed that session. The day before yesterday, I had shown it how to create a manual statement, but I can show you again, not a problem. We have time. Okay, so simple. How do we create it? We create it from the ad. So from this manage bank statement, or let me go back to the main page. Okay, so this is the bank statement reconciliation page under cash management. And then in the task list, we will have create bank statement. So this is where you can click at to create the manual statement. First, I will select the bank account for which I want to create the bank statement. So let us say I will create it for the other case, the other bank account. So this is the bank account for which I want to create. Okay, I'll give the start period as the period in which for which the statement actually is for. Let's say 1st January to 31st Jan. Okay, statement ID, there will be a unique number that will be there for the statement ID if it is coming from the bank, okay, in the MT940 format. But if it is a statement that you are downloading from the bank website and then you're manually creating it, you might want to give a unique numbering for the statement ID to identify it easily. So generally, I would give it as what? I will create a number based on the date 01 31 01 23. Okay. So this is how I would give a number when I'm doing a manual statement, or you can even provide the naming. Okay, like what I can provide Jan 23 state. Okay, this way also I can provide the unique ID. Okay, then the attachment, basically if it is something that you're downloading from the bank portal, okay, bank login, then you can attach that statement as a reference. Then here under the balances, I will have to provide the opening balance and the closing balance. Okay, which in turn should match with what the statement line as well. So opening balance minus the statement lines, minus or plus the statement lines should equal to the closing balance. Otherwise, system will throw an error. Okay, so let's say as of now, we don't have any opening balance for this particular bank account. Okay, zero balance. And then what will be the closing balance? Let's say some amount was there. Okay, so I'm entering $20,000, let's say, or $12,000. That is the closing balance. Okay, statement lines, I would say. Now I will enter the statement lines based on the PDF or the Excel, the document that is downloaded from the bank portal. Okay. So I will give the fourth state line number 1. I need to provide the booking date. When was the transaction? Or basically it will be the transaction date. I will have to associate a transaction code. Okay, if it is a bank charge, I will have to provide the bank charge code. Okay, so let me provide the bank charge. Let me search it. I'll just select this, okay, because this is the code that I want to use. Flow indicator. Flow indicator, what is the flow indicator? It is the debit or credit. So from a bank perspective, credit means we have receipts, okay, which will be inward funds. And debit means outflow, okay. So that is where this is bank charge is an outflow. So that is where I will assign it as an outflow and I'll say 200 is the amount. Okay, any other additional information that you would want to provide, you can provide it. Fees, charges, additional information. Okay, then you have transaction identification, other transaction identification information, all those things. Additionally, one more thing that you will have to provide is the reconciliation reference. So basically, there will be a reference, for any kind of transaction that happens in the bank, inflow or outflow. There will be a reconciliation reference. If it is something, a payment that you have initiated, then there will be a system reference that you will have to provide. That means your ERP payment reference that you will provide. Okay, so let's say if it is a check payment that you have made, okay, and that check is being deposited in bank, so that check number will be the reconciliation reference. Okay, because you need to identify and then reconcile based on that. Okay, so that is where you will have to provide the reconciliation reference for the statement line based on what? Based on the statement that is available to you, which you have downloaded. So there will be a reference. So let me say 10001 is the reconciliation reference for this. And then I will say, okay. So statement 1, line number 1 is created. Okay. Now line 2 and line 3, I will have to create, depending upon what all number of lines are there, all those lines I will have to create with the proper transaction code associated to it and the reconciliation reference. Okay, so let me see what are the transactions that we have available for the second bank account. So I had downloaded it. Okay, so export 6, I believe. Yes. RCPT 100 for 10,000 and electronic fund transfer for 10,000. Amount is positive. Okay. So let me add those in the statement, considering that it will be there in the statement. Okay. So I will select the booking date as the same date for the transaction. So it was, let me take this into consideration. Okay. I'm not sure if this will work. Let's see. Let me cancel and provide the date as 23, 2022. Okay, fine. Again, I'm providing this as 2. Okay, and the transaction code that I will select would be customer receipt. Okay, because this is what the first one is through receivables. Okay, and it is $10,000 and the reference is RCPT 100. So that same reference I will copy. Stay considering that this is the same reference that I have shared with bank and it is available in the statement line. Flow indicator is what? Credit. Okay, because it is an inflow and the amount is 10,000. Okay, now there is, I will say, click on OK. So the second line is created. Okay, and then the third line now. For fourth. Okay, this is electronic fund transfer, external, and this is 10,000. I think this is a receipt again. Let me just verify it. Okay, one moment. Manage external transactions. I'll select the bank account. Which was it? This was it, right? 10,000-3301. Negative 10,000, which is an outflow. Okay, so let me create this in the statement. Okay, what is the reference in the transaction that I have provided? Reconciliation reference. This was the reference 3301. So the same will be, we are assuming the same will be there in the reconciliation reference in the statement line. Okay, transaction code will be, let's say, transfer is there, outgoing money transfer. That is the transaction code. Okay, and the flow is debit. Okay, which will be for 10,000. Okay, let us click on OK and see if it is correctly populated. Under payments, yes. Yes, this is the line. Okay, for outgoing funds, payment it is 10,000. Okay, deposit is 10,000 here. Now let's see again the transaction, external transaction. What are the other transactions available under external transaction? We have it one more. Which is 2 more, in fact, 27002 and 222334. This is one manual transaction that we had created. Okay, so let us select that. Which is again what? Which is a receipt. And the last one is also a receipt. Because it shows positive amount. So positive means basically deposit, okay? Negative means outflow. So let us add those also in the statement. Let's say 18. What is the date over there? 24. One is 24, the other one is 12. Okay. So let us take, for uniformity, let us take 24 for logical thing. Okay. And reconciliation reference, I will say the same reconciliation reference as we had it in here. Okay. And then transaction code would be outgoing, incoming. Okay, funds. So okay, let me say receipts. I will again select. It can be some other miscellaneous transfers, bank transfer or something like that. Okay, but for now, time being, I'm selecting it as a customer receipt. So just tagging it as in Word. Okay, and then flow indicator is what? Credit for the amount of 1,000. Okay, and I'll say create another. The last transaction we'll create. That was for 12th. Okay, what would be the transaction reference code? Let us say, okay, I'm not providing it, okay, just to make sure that no auto reconciliation does not recognize this because the transaction reconciliation reference is not matching. Okay, again, this is customer receipts. Flow is credit and it is 1,000. Click on OK. So these are the statement lines that we have created. Okay, so what will be the sum total? 10,000, 10,000 knocked off, and then 1,000, 2,000, and minus 200, which is 1,800. So as per the statement lines entered and the opening balance, the closing balance should be what? 1,800. But let's say we made a mistake. We did not properly see the closing balance in the statement, and we entered incorrectly as 12,000. Okay, so what system will do is when we try to save it, okay, it will tell us, or it will give us an indicator saying that the closing balance is not in line with the opening and the statement lines. See here, it is giving you a warning. Opening balance that includes the statement line credits and debits does not equal to the closing balance. So I will say okay. And even the balance check will show the negative value. So what is the negative or difference between the closing and the sum of opening and the statement line? Okay, so I want to rectify it because I had incorrectly entered it. So I will give the actual balance as per the calculation. And now I will save again. Okay, so you see the changes were saved. Now the balance check is 0. That means there is no difference. Everything is properly, the sum totals are correct. Okay, the closing balance is correct. That means. Okay, now I'll do what? Save. So my statement is now created. So I have every scenarios available. Fee is also there, which is something which is not there in the system, but has come up as a additional line in the statement for any fee they have deducted. Okay, there is no transaction available for that. And the remaining ones are all based on the transaction which we have performed. Okay, now let us see in the manual reconciliation tab, let us see all the statement lines against the system lines, system transactions. So how do we do that? I'll go to manual reconciliation. I'll need to be on the unreconciled tab because all these are unreconciled transactions that we are looking for. And I selected the bank account. Now I'll say search. So you look here. What are the things available? Okay, 10,000, 10,000 is there. 100,000. This is the additional line. Then we have 1,000 available. And then there was a RCPT 100. Okay, so this receipt 100 is actually not available. Okay, from receivables. So that was for some other, bank account, I believe. Anyways, let's consider if at all there is a transaction available for in receivables, and which will then tie up against this, and then system will be able to identify it. Now, what we will do is, first of all, we will manual reconciliation. I hope you understand how it needs to be done. You can simply select the bank statement line against the transaction line and click on the reconcile button. Okay, and it will get reconciled. If there is a tolerance in place, then it will throw if there is a tolerance mismatch happens or a tolerance violation happens, then system will throw an warning. Like, it is violating the tolerance, and it will not allow you to reconcile if the tolerance limit is kept. Otherwise, it will allow you to reconcile. Okay, now submit auto reconciliation. We will do.
Chandu, based on this bank accounts from AR and AP, the transactions will directly come here.
Yes, that is the idea. Okay, based on the bank account that you have selected. Okay, that is how the data gets integrated in cash management.
Okay, done.
Okay, let me search the bank account for which I want to run the auto reconciliation. This is the bank account, and statement ID I need to search from the drop down. So this is the statement, and I'll remove the date parameters because I have selected statement ID. Okay, the generate cash transaction which we ran separately in the earlier case, we can run it along with the auto reconciliation process also. Okay, so before that, let me update the bank account with the correct rule. This is the account. Controls. Under that, I'll create the statement transaction creation rule. I will assign it ABC bank charge. Okay. And auto reconciliation rule set also, I will have to provide the ABC Corp auto reconciliation. Okay, which has the matching criteria and all. Okay, rest everything is not required. Save and close. Okay. I'll go back to this page and submit. Now going back to the manage bank statement and transactions part on that page, and I'll scroll down to the monitor section and refresh to see if the process has completed successfully or not. Yes, auto reconciliation is also completed and statement transaction creation is also done. Let us see. Let us navigate to the task, manual reconciliation. Okay, now I'll select the under and reconcile first. I will see whether what all things are now pending for reconciliation. Okay, so under statement lines, there are 2, and under system transaction, there are 1. Okay, 27002, and here there was no reference. That is why this did not get reconciled against each other automatically. This we had kept it as a negative test scenario, right? And then against this, definitely there is no transaction available. So that is where it is not picked up. Now going to reconcile tab, there you will see. Again, let us search. This is what the reconciled lines are based on, system could find. And also this one, this is the last one where, we did not have a transaction earlier for 200, but system created the transaction based on the generate cash transaction program, which fulfilled, okay, the criteria as per the rule that we have assigned at the bank account level for bank statement transaction creation. Okay, it automatically created it and also it reconciled it. Okay, now once this is done, okay, you can run the create accounting process from the schedule process, and then you will be able to see the accounting as well, or you can run it from here. Okay, so I will select cash management. I'll select the ledger. End date is, I'll just provide 31st as the end date. And I will say final, process all events, transfer to GL and everything. And I'll submit. Okay, then I'll go again to bank statement. For external transactions that are there in cash management, bank transfer, external transactions, all the accounting should happen once the reconciliation is set as reconciled. The status of the transaction is set as reconciled. And the other leg, that is in case of payments, the accounting for the after reconciliation will happen in payment module. The final leg of accounting, that is cash clearing account, cash account debit to cash clearing account. So for all these lines that are available in external transaction and cash management, the accounting will happen. So now you will be able to see the accounting view accounting. If I'll do, if the process is completed, you will be able to see the accounting. See, accounting is available. Okay, the only thing is the offset account should be there on the transaction. Only then system will be able to do the accounting, debit and credit line accounting. If it is blank, then system will not be able to identify and the accounting will fail for this transaction. So that is where I mentioned before you do a reconciliation. Okay, as a business user before he runs the reconciliation process, he'll have to first complete all the external transactions. So by completion, I mean provide the reconciliation reference, provide the offset account and everything, and then complete the transaction. And once that is done, and the statement has been imported, run the auto reconciliation or the manual reconciliation process. Okay, once it is reconciled, then if you run the create accounting, then external transactions will get accounted. Okay, so this is the entire process of the statement creation. Now, if it is an empty 940 file that you receive from bank, okay, then how to load it? So basically, first you will load it in where? Load it in the UCM, that is the file import and export. Okay, so under tools, you have file import and export. So whatever .txt or the .dat file that you receive from the bank for MT940, that you will first load in the directory in import and export. Okay, choose the file, whatever the file is. Let's say this is the file. Okay, as an example. And what is the directory? So fin cash management import. That will be the directory. Okay, so first you load it here. Then what you will do is you will go to the cash management bank's statement and reconciliation. And you will click on the task list and you will say load and import bank statement. Okay, you will select the format. So this is all the standard format which Oracle supports. Okay, not this one, okay, but DAI2 format, ISO format, then Swift MT940 format. Okay, so this is Swift MT940 that I was talking about, the universal format that you will select, and then you will find the data file. Basically, this is the one. This is how you will find the data file. Okay, and then if you want to, along with that, if you want to run the auto reconciliation, you'll have to enable this checkbox and then submit. Okay, so this process will load, import the data, and also because you have checked the auto reconciliation tick box, auto reconciliation process will also run. Okay, so this is for manual approval.